Okay, so going through the critical thinking past questions, justice at for or therefore, hey, critical thinking more therefore. Okay, so for the first paper, for the first exam question, we have 1 to 30, 1 to 60, but let's go through 1 to 30 because time is not on our side. Then the 30 to 60 could be in a part 2 video. 1. In distinguishing types of sentence shaped thoughts, one would see have first considered both the premises and the conclusion. 2. If a sentence is a fragment, then it means so the sentence fragments are just they are trying to be sentences, but they're not complete. Okay, so they usually like a subject or a verb. So it doesn't necessarily mean they'll be emotive. Emotive is when someone is expressing themselves. Oh, what a goal! I love that man, Michael. Right? And fallacy is just mistakes you make in your argument or mistakes you make in your statement. It can't be. It's none of the above. If a sentence is a fragment, then it's none of the above. It doesn't necessarily have to be emotive, fallacy, or have one subject. 3. Consider the passage in italics. Some who are civil engineers are readers of the gospel, since anyone who is a civil engineer must pay more tax, and a fraction of those who pay more tax read the gospel. This passage best illustrates deductive reasoning. I'm trying to deduce something logically, step by step. In the sentence, the attribute class of a statement is relied upon in determining the good thought. The underlying portion is C, attribute class. What is an attribute class? Let's use an example to explain. Kofi and Joshua are in the library, or Kofi and Joshua are reading. Kofi and Joshua, what we are talking about, they are a reference class, and the property of them, or what they are doing right now, are in the library, are reading, is the attributes, what we are attributing to them. Okay, so the reference class is what you are referring to, what you are talking about, and the attribute class is the attribute of the reference class. So if you look at this question number 4, it's clearly the word attribute, the attribute has rather become a reference class. Attribute has become a reference class here, and a statement is relied upon. The underline is a attribute class because it's rather speaking of attribute. And one more point to note: when you have particular, for instance, we have examples like Kofi and Joshua in the library. You are being particular. You are pinpointing. You are picking specific references, right? We say there are particular reference classes, particular reference class. But if you are generalizing, all metals expand when heated, all this, all that, you are generalizing. We say that reference class is general. Okay, so if you can pinpoint, you can count your reference class. You are being specific. It's a particular reference class. But if you are being general, it's general reference class. 5. If the conclusion of an argument is false, even if the premises are taken to be true, then it is unsound. A. If Kofi is taller than Amma, and Amma is shorter than Abi, and it means, so we know both Abi and Kofi are taller than Amma, but we don't know between Kofi and Abi who is taller. So A, Abi is taller than Kofi is possible. B, Kofi is taller than Abi is possible. C, Kofi and Abi are of the same height. It's also possible. D, Abi is taller than Amma but shorter than Kofi. That is also possible. E, then none of the above. Whatsoever you think, you can comment in the comment section for question 6. Okay, let me write that down. Question 6. Okay, let's continue. If an argument moves from a particular premise to a particular conclusion, then it could be deductive or inductive. D. A test result is the C, conclusion of deductive argument. 9. Statistical hypothesis has a lower predictive power than law-like hypothesis. When you say a hypothesis has a high predictive power, they are law-like. What do we mean by law-like? They speak for all. They exempt none. So all metals expand when heated. When in the future you find out that one metal doesn't expand when heated, then our law is false. It has a high predictive power. Why? Let's see why. When we find out that this statement is true, that means all metals expand when heated. One day we find out that is true, then we know we have assurance that every metal we get in the future will expand when heated. Let's look at statistical hypothesis. For statistical hypothesis, they usually pick some. They never go for all. 75% of the boys, they are talking about statistics. 3/4 of the girls do this. So some metals expand when heated. It will always be true. This statement will always be true. It can never be false. So if a statement is difficult to falsify a statement, right? That statement has less predictive power. Because how can you confirm that one day it will be true? Because already it is true. So a statement that have law-like hypothesis, that speak for all, they have higher predictive power. 9A. 10. Read a passage in italics and select an answer from the options below that best describes it. The supporters of the rugby team are as strong as the players of the team. Olu and Ibu seem to be members of the rugby team, therefore they are strong. Seem to be, it could be none of the above. None of the above. 11. Which of the options below is interrogative? A. What? How is this possible in Ghana today? This is not a question. It's not interrogative. The person is expressing how they feel. It's an emotive. Okay. B. Is any sentence interrogative? This is requiring an answer to be successful or not. When it's successful, we've answered it. When it's not successful, we haven't. This is an interrogative. It's a question. B. 12. Which of the following sentences is true? A declarative sentence is factual as well. Straightforward. A metaphor. 13. A metaphor is an expression of a value judgment. True. So, for instance, Kojo is a scorpion. You are trying to see probably Kojo is a bad person or some sort. He likes to hide and do evil things. It's an expression of value judgment. So metaphor, yes, it's true. 14. An eliminative definition may also be referred to as. So when they say a definition is eliminative, they can be found in two places in the definitions. They can be found in idle. Idle definitions are always eliminative, and it's difficult to come by them. And in the mathematical definitions are eliminative definitions can be found. And the eliminative definition is a definition that is so good, that is accurate, correct, perfect, such that the definitions can represent the definiendum in any statement. They can eliminate, they can come to replace the definiendum in any example, right? That's why it's called eliminative. So it's none of them. It's not theoretical, stipulative, essential, 15. Consider the following conversation between Kofi and Ahmed. Kofi, where have you been, Ahmed? I have not seen you in a while. Ahmed, I traveled. I visited my friend in India. Kofi, did you learn anything? Ahmed, of course, among Guineans, lazy means good thinking. I took time over there, engaging in the act of lazy good thinking. Kofi, you misunderstand people easily, and I hope you found a remedy for that problem. Ahmed, why do you think I have a problem? Kofi, you do not work hard enough to understand people. This is laziness. Yet you are suggesting that being lazy is good thinking. Probably this is hard. This is hard for me. You can going for stipulative definition. The Indians define lazy as being good thinking. Is it a word that they've stipulated for themselves to use over there? I'll go for a stipulative definition, but you can comment the correct answer if you get it in the comment section. 16. When exposure to different facts of life leads to a dispute between two people, the dispute is obviously substantive, so it's not capable of being resolved easily, because the disputes about the meaning of a word is rather verbal. Okay, so an example of a verbal dispute is maybe I'm calling this a pen, and from someone's point of view, they see I'm using something to write, but they don't see whether it's a pen or not. They see writing instrument, but later we come out to see that the pen is a writing instrument. Someone who is more closer to the person writing has seen it. This dispute can be resolved easily. It's a verbal dispute, but for substantive, it cannot be resolved easily. Some of them are not even resolved at all, because it's based on different opinions. Maybe in Christianity, someone describes Christianity one way, the other person describes it the other, being born again, the other person describes it like going to church always and praying and obeying your parents. It cannot be resolved, okay, because they will continue to subscribe to your faith. So it's 16a. 17. The intentional vague use of language entails none of the above. No metaphors, none of the above. 18. Which of the following is more about the speaker than the fact? C. Emotive. Emotive is about the person expressing themselves. 19. The expression it follows that is a logical, straightforward. 20. When a passage is about the order of event, then it is a narrative. 21. Which of the following laws is often described as law-like? C. Natural law, because natural law usually speaks of or law-like. That's what's important to scientists. For example, of a natural law is what you said: all metals expand when heated, or all planets move about the sun in an elliptical orbit. So if you find out that with just one, the law is broken. Hence, high predictive power. 22. The sentence "God is omnipotent and the creator of this world" is an example of. It's not a law. It's none of the above. They are just stating something. 23. The sentence, Dr. Majid is stingy, best illustrate. A. An expression of fact but not of value. B. A statement of value but not of facts. Neither. It should be A, between A or B. I'll go for B. The statement of value. It's also fact. A. I'll go for A rather. But if you have the correct answer, you can comment the correct answer in the comment section, because they are giving us information. I should have gone for both, but it's implicitly and explicitly. 24. You just comment the correct answer if you get the 23. 24. The sentence, if X is a soldier, then X is caring, means one needs to be a soldier, by force. B. If someone wants to be caring, then he or she must be. All soldiers are people who care. Yeah. If you're a soldier, then you care. C.